This is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee. Um, it's the 7th of August here in Israel. It's 8:23 in the morning, and it's going to be another hot day. It's already 79 degrees, and we're going to have 95 as our high. I'm going to try to make this a brief broadcast compared to what I usually do. I'm rather knocked out from following the war day and night, and I got up very early in the morning and worked on it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts as to what's happening and going to happen. One of the most important things that you need to know is not being totally broadcast in the news, although it is out there. And that's that Iran is speaking to the United Arab League with 53 countries today. So Iran could attack while they're speaking to the Arab League. They could attack right after, or they may wait a day or so. They may be trying to gain support from them, but if they were looking for countries to join in the war, they wouldn't do it with the Arab League. They would meet with the countries individually, and then those that decided to help Iran, if any, would appear with them at the United Arab League. And we may see this today. I don't expect it. Okay? So it could happen, but I don't think so. They could do the attack while they're addressing the United Arab League, but that would be rather insulting to the Arab League. I don't think they'll do that. So we're still waiting and watching. Okay? Curiously, during the night, I believe the UK and the US struck the Houthis again with more airstrikes. The United States said they will retaliate for the attack on the American base in Iraq that I was told 2 soldiers died, but now we're being told 5 or 7 or something like that were wounded. So it's unclear if there are any deaths or not. But the fact that the United States says they will retaliate is a change. This is something that's we haven't been seeing previously. Okay? I mean, they did in the past superficial attacks. Okay? Let me just go into the chat real quick and make sure that I have sound and picture, because if we don't have sound and picture, it's not a good thing. So pray for me to have strength and stamina and endurance to get through the broadcast, because I'm rather tired. I've been tracking the war around the clock, except for a few hours when I've been sleeping. Okay. All right, the chat seems to be fine. Being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 Okay, couple of background things. Sinwar, the guy that is the boots on the ground head of Hamas in Gaza, has been made the head of Hamas. Now, it's unclear to me who made him the head of Hamas. Looked around for that and I didn't find it. They probably have some committee or something to replace the guy that was assassinated in Iran. He's the guy that led the October 7th assault on Israel, and apparently was supposedly the, mastermind, if you want to use that word, behind it. He's been hiding in tunnels, and it's highly likely Israel will try to take him out, but there's a thought that he might be more flexible with a ceasefire deal that's acceptable to Israel, because the other guy was in Iran and he wasn't directly affected by the war. But if this thing continues, the chances of Sinwar surviving it are extremely small. Okay? Israel will just start getting aggressive and start, detonating tunnels and buildings and stuff like that until they find the jerk, and then he'll get killed. So then they won't have a leader. And again, so we don't know. Surprisingly, Hamas was able to keep launching very small amount of missiles by the day into the south of Israel and up at the north by Ashdod, north of Gaza, right near Gaza at the north. And this is a sign of Netanyahu idiocy, trying to keep the war going so his criminal trials don't proceed. He's facing 3 criminal counts. The trials have already begun. He's postponing the trials by telling the court he can't deal with it because he's involved with the war. So he has a vested interest in keeping this thing going. A sad state of affairs for Israel. Sad state of affairs. Now, trying to get my thoughts. Israel has been attacking Lebanon every day, hitting weapons depots and command centers and strategic things that Hezbollah up in Lebanon has, and they've also stopped the flow of weapons coming in through Syria. So in other words, Iran sends them to Iraq and then into Syria and then into Lebanon, and that's been stopped. So Iran's trying to find a new entry point. Now, curiously, yesterday, it's Wednesday now in Israel, yesterday there was a sub-hunter plane from America that spent a large number of hours flying around near Lebanon over the water looking for subs. So whose subs would be there? See, they're worried because they got American warships in the area, and they're worried. Now, Iran has some submarines. Most of them are junk, but some of them are able to go under the water and navigate and stuff. So they're probably afraid Iran may try to do a torpedo attack on an American ship or something like that. That's the only explanation I come up with. They might also be looking for a Russian or a Chinese sub, but I doubt that. Hezbollah has no subs. Yemen, the Houthis have no subs. Iraq and Syria don't have subs. So it boils down to Iran. Okay. So what is going on? Well, it appears to me and other people that Biden has told Israel to wait for the attack from Iran. Don't do a preemptive strike. But they could care less what Israel does to Lebanon, because Israel is paving the way for a ground invasion in Lebanon. Yesterday, Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, who's also a tunnel dweller for many months now, was giving a speech, and during the speech, Israel was flying over the skies of Lebanon with their jets breaking the sound barrier. Some of you know what that does, and some of you don't. It's a boom. It's frightening if you don't know what it is, and it shakes the doors and the windows and the dishes and things in your house. Okay? It's rather unsettling. They used to do that in Israel going back 30, 35 years ago frequently, but in more recent years, they don't do it unless there's some sort of an emergency. Okay, it's called the sonic boom. And Israel's jets are supersonic. They exceed the 750 miles an hour speed, and that causes the sonic boom. Okay. America has moved a squadron of F-22s to the Middle East, uncertain exactly where they put them. It could be Qatar, it could be Jordan, it could be UAE, Saudi. I doubt it's in Israel. It's someplace. And then they also brought in a squadron is about 20, 25, but someone was saying it's 16. Okay. So it's, I'd say someplace between 16 and 20 or 25. It's in there someplace. They also brought in a squadron of this, that would be a similar number of F/A-18 fighter jets, which are pretty good jets. They go 1,190 miles an hour when they move in full steam. They can carry a larger amount of fuel and go 30% longer distance. They can carry a lot of weapons and armaments, and they're often used to defend the naval fleet. But they can do many things. It's a very advanced multi-role fighter. It's not a stealth plane. So the F-35s and the F-22s, if they're going to attack Iran, would go in first and find the radar and take it out. And they would open up corridors where they have, maybe a 25 or 100-mile wide path that goes in substantially when they clean the radar out. So the regular jets, the like F-18s, F-15s, F-16s, can fly in and attack strategic targets. Okay? That's the plan. The F-22s are very serious stealth jets, better than the F-35, although I don't think Iran has anything that can take down an F-35. They certainly don't have anything that can take down an F-22 Raptor jet, in my opinion, and I think that most, if not all, of the people that study this would agree with that. I doubt Russia has anything at all that can do it. They didn't give Iran their S-500 missile systems, which I think cannot take it down anyway. They gave them S-400s, which can be a serious threat to a non-stealth aircraft. So if the radar is down, including these S-400s, the S-400s has radar and then launches anti-aircraft, anti-missile missiles. So these things need to be taken out. It's rumored, and probably true, that Iran received several of these from Russia in the past few days. It's also coming out that Russia has given Iran ballistic or guided longer range missiles. Now, Russia has used its missiles in Ukraine, and sometimes they get through and sometimes they don't. But Israel's defense systems and American defense systems with their Navy ships is not anywhere near the level of what Ukraine has. It's much higher level. Okay. Russia tried to give these ballistic missiles to Yemen, they're telling us, but failed. They probably couldn't get in. Maybe they were trying to send a ship there. I don't know exactly the details. Russia probably gave Iran a bunch of sophisticated anti-ship ballistic missiles to attack the American naval vessels. This is my belief. Nobody knows for sure. They also gave Iran jamming equipment to interfere with communications and GPS of anybody attacking Iran. Hezbollah is continuing to pound Israel. Nasrallah in his speech yesterday was gloating about the psychological damage that he's causing to Israel, and kind of implying that that's part of the revenge on Israel. And the people in Israel are stressed out right now. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. America's not sure. The only thing we know is that Iran is moving missiles around inside Iran, assumptively to spread them out so they'd be harder to take them all out and attack Israel. But the missiles they had before Russia started transferring weapons would borderline reach Israel. It's a 982-mile flight, basically. So the last time Iran was launching a lot of stuff out of Iraq, which shrinks the distance by a lot, and it reduces the flight time considerably, which makes it harder to take down. Now, they say 99% of the drones and missiles in the April 13th attack on Israel were taken down by American warships, Israel and Jordan and so forth, but 80 or 90% of that was done by Israel. You got to remember that. People are saying there's ammo shortages, weapons shortages, and stuff like that in Israel. You got to understand that Israel makes a lot of its own weapons. So you've got to take that with a grain of salt. Okay, Israel's been dragging out a ground invasion in Lebanon, very likely because it needed many weeks to produce weapons so they don't run out. And America's been withholding a multitude of weapons from Israel to manipulate Israel, okay, and control Israel. And Netanyahu's such a dumbbell, he's going along with it. Either that or he's got evil intentions with an ulterior motive that he's not talking about, or we don't know. So once the Arab League meeting takes place, which is probably going to be this morning sometime, I don't have an exact hour, it could be 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't know. Then I would say we're ready for an attack from Iran. Now, what it appears is going on is that Biden has, and probably other countries, have told Israel not to do a preemptive strike on Iran because it makes it look like you're provoking it. So they're telling Israel to shut up and wait for the attack to start. Israel is indicating that they're going to do an immediate response to the attack. Well, there's something wrong with this statement. We don't know when the attack is going to start. Okay? It's going to take Israel some hours to move its jets into position to attack Iran. Okay? It's not something that's going to happen like with Lebanon in a matter of moments. We could probably be over Beirut in from the time to take off, I don't know, 120 seconds or less, 3 minutes maximum, That's not the case with Iran. It may not take us hours, but it would probably, let me think. I would say an hour and 45 minutes from the time they take off. Now, the jets are waiting, and they're fueled and they're armed, and the pilots are, maybe within 100 or 200 yards of the plane. And when the bell goes off, boom, they just grab their helmets and their gear and they run to the plane and they get in the plane and they're off. Maybe it takes 5 minutes to get them in the air. Then they've got to traverse over there, and we have to organize aerial tankers to go with them. So if Israel takes off and they start running the planes at, let's say, 600-700 miles an hour, which doesn't break the sound barrier, the problem with that is it still takes a long time, and they would be running ahead of the refueling tanker, which probably runs, I'm going to guess, about 500 miles an hour. So it's a couple hours. So Iran can do a lot of damage in a couple of hours. So you have to see the wickedness of Biden, and you have to see that Biden wants Israel to not emerge as a winner, not reclaim any land, to be busted up, to show Israel and the world that God, this nonsense of God being with Israel is a joke. In other words, make a mockery of Jehovah. And the prophecies aren't going to come true and all of this other stuff. And Israel, if you want peace, we're not going to be here for you forever. You've got to give the West Bank back. If you give the West Bank back, then we're your friends. But that's certain death for Israel if they give the West Bank back. Okay? And that includes East Jerusalem, which is the real site where the temple would be. Well, the Dome of the Rock is there too. And that's what Satan wants, and then Satan would breathe easy. Okay, he's not happy now. He teaches the churches one set of another gospel, but he has a pretty good idea what the real gospel says about him getting doomed. Remember when Yeshua appeared on earth years, like 2,000 years ago, he was talking to some guy that had the demons, and they said to him, they know who he is, they said, what did you do come here to torment us before the time? See, they knew the time. And they knew it wasn't the time. So they know stuff. I just established that with you rather concretely. So Satan knows it. He doesn't teach the people that, but he knows it, and he's very nervous right now. Okay? So it looks like Israel's going along with Biden. If Israel goes against Biden, then the coalition with the UAE, Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain falls apart, more than likely, and nobody's doing takedowns of missiles and stuff like that. Now, these countries also don't want missiles flying over their country because, like Yemen launched a missile yesterday, and the thing fell down in Yemen and caused casualties. See, these missiles can malfunction and come down inside Jordan or Saudi Arabia or UAE and cause problems. Okay? So even if Israel, was attacking preemptively Iran, they still wouldn't want the missiles flying over them. Okay? Now, could Israel attack Iran with missiles? Yeah. But due to the distance, I think they're going to opt for jets. Now, is it possible that Israel is flying jets around the Persian Gulf area or in the Indian Ocean, perpetually waiting for Iran to make the first strike and then zoom in and start bombing them? Unlikely. Highly unlikely. They're telling us that there might be 2 waves of attack from Iran. Oh, from what? 2 waves. One wave from Hezbollah launching a large amount of missiles at Israel. Now, the thought would be to hit the military bases as much as they can. The same with Iran. Because if they knock out our military, then they could progress into a ground invasion of us and put us in the ovens and get rid of us. But attacking the civilian centers and leaving the military alone gets them nothing but psychological warfare benefit and terror. And it also raises the anger of Israel, and the military's still intact, so they'll keep counterattacking. Iran doesn't want to see Israel counterattack them for 10 days. There wouldn't be much of Iran left. So the military, contrary to what they talk about, has really got to be their main focus. Okay? Now, they could try infrastructure. Their weapons are not so great. Don't think they got great, highly accurate weapons. They don't. The last time they had a 99% failure rate, 98, 99, and precious little damage was done. But that was only 300 missiles and drones or something. So now they're thinking, oh, we got to do 1,000 every day for days. So the intel yesterday was that Hezbollah would do one large barrage, and Iran would do one large barrage, and that would be the end of it. And hope that Biden tells Israel to just suck it up, and that's the end of it. Now here's the problem, and most of the Israelis know this. We listened to Biden on April 13th, and we did a very minimalistic counterattack on Iran, and it had no serious deterrent value. And here we are. They're attacking us again. Let's say April, May, June, July. 4 months later, they're doing it again. You see? It didn't work. So, Israel's not too interested in just doing a superficial attack this time. The attack on the Iraqi base came from one or two sources or reasons. One would be the militias just figured it was open season on America from the way Iran was talking and took a shot like that, which I don't give a lot of credence to, but it's possible. Or Iran had them take a pot shot at the base that was serious enough to hurt soldiers. It was actually a drone they used, and see what America does. And it's been, I think, 3 days now, and America's done nothing except talk about a retaliation. So this tells Iran that America is, carrying a big stick and isn't going to do much of anything. That's how they think in the Middle East, these Muslim terrorists, okay? So they think America's making a show of force and trying to control the situation that way, which never works. America might be sick and tired of this, and they may actually attack Iran. The Speaker of the House, Johnson, it is rumored, but I can't really confirm it. He said that they would declare war on Iran if they attacked Israel, but I can't find reputable sources for this. It's possible that he said that the Congress would attempt to pass a declaration of war on Iran. Now, that's all he could do as the Speaker of the House. So it has to pass the Senate and the House of Representatives, which it may not do. And then Biden has to sign it, which he could just avoid signing it for a few days. Or he could veto it, or he signs it. But let's say he signs it, he could procrastinate and not do anything. A declaration of war does not mandate military action immediately. he may use that as a tool to negotiate something with Iran in his demented, evil way. So the other side of the coin is they might be looking for a victory for the Democratic Party, and they want to take out Iran, and let Kamala use it as a way to elevate herself in the polls. Remember, Iran said they already have nuclear weapons, which was stupid, because they could use that as a excuse to do this. Oh, they're a threat to America, Europe, our allies, our Navy and military bases and everything else. So Iran was quite stupid for making a crack like that. And it's not real. They don't have them. If these things were real and everybody says, oh, Israel's got hundreds of them, well, why would Iran behave this way? Because Israel could just drop 1 or 2 nukes on them, and that's the end of it, end game for Iran. You see what I mean? This stuff's not real. So don't get hung up on the nuke stuff, okay? There is, I would say, a high likelihood that America will attack Iran. And there's also a high likelihood that as soon as America starts trying to do takedowns of missiles and drones, Iran will attack American warships that are going to be doing the takedowns. Now, coincidentally, if you want to believe in coincidences, I believe it was yesterday, Ukraine tanks entered into Mother Russia's homeland, not Ukraine, not areas of Ukraine occupied by Russia, Russia proper. And F-16s also attacked inside Russia proper. So this could have been arranged as a signal to Putin to keep his nose out of the Middle East and not try to get involved. Because now he's not in a really good position to send a lot of military assets over to Iran to help them. Giving them weapons is one thing, and how many weapons can he afford to give them? But actually deploying, warships and aircraft and soldiers over there is most unlikely. China's not popping up or doing much of anything regarding Iran. They have a lot of expensive economic projects in Iran. They have a very small amount of soldiers there to protect their economic projects. But we've seen no signs of China moving cargo planes to Iran, or aircraft, or Navy ships, or troops, or anything. Same with North Korea. So it doesn't appear that Iran's going to have the help of these other superpowers in this fight. Is there a chance that Iran turns around and says, well, we punished Israel, we scared them for a week with an attack, drove them crazy, and we'll consider that the revenge, but if there is the next time, we'll attack them? Yeah, but I give it 10%. I mean, you gotta understand, you're dealing with the criminally insane people that will thrive on lying and murder. And that Satan was the father of lies and a murderer from the beginning. And that's what they go by. That's what they operate, like their father. They operate, as murderers. There's a bloodthirsty bunch of people. They would lose face if they didn't go through with a big attack. They would be thinking there's no deterrent value against Israel. Next, they'll kill a Khomeini or something like that. So they, remember the president of Iran got killed a few months ago also. So they're pretty much afraid. The leaders are themselves afraid. and they want to restore deterrent value. So they're going to do it. I would say 90%, 98%, they're going to do a big attack. And I mean, we could say Israel's waiting for Iran to maneuver their um, missiles into position and their radars and then come in and take them out with a preemptive strike, but I think that's not very likely. Very unlikely. And I would attribute this to Biden and the UK and a few other countries that are probably telling Israel this. Now, they wouldn't tell any other country to wait till the attack comes. When the country tells you emphatically they're going to do it, and then you see weapons coming in from Russia, you know, the only reason they're getting away with it is Israel, and the nations hate Israel. That's it. They wouldn't do this to anybody else. I don't know what America's idea of a serious retaliation is for the attack on their base, but it would probably manifest in attacking several of the Iran-backed militia bases in Iraq with rockets, missiles, bombs, whatever. I don't think they're going to do anything that's going to kill 500 people. They're going to create some deterrent value for sure, but it's not going to be enough. The only thing that's going to be enough is to wipe them out so they can't fight back. You don't scare these people. They're not like regular people. You could scare Russia, you could scare China, you could scare North Korea. You're not going to scare these people because they're nuts. Okay? And it's not going to work. Now, it's going to be like the time of Noah and the flood. Noah was a preacher. When you read the scriptures carefully, he was preaching. And he probably told them that there would be a flood. And I expect a lot of people listened to him and just disregarded it. Man, he's crazy. We never had anything like this before. So there was a warning given. They didn't heed it, yet Noah and his whole house were saved in the ark. His whole house. You and your whole house shall be saved. No, they were, you know, not behaving the way people do today. You know, he was letting his daughters get him drunk, and then they were laying up with him and stuff like that. It's weird stuff, right? Yet the Lord delivered them. Sodom, basically Lot and his whole house that wanted to come were saved. And the destruction came, but we don't read of anybody preaching to them destruction. So God just did it. Okay? He wasn't sending prophets there to warn them, he just got rid of them. So the days today are going to be like Sodom and like the Noah flood. Hold on a second. somebody sent me a fraud message. We get a lot of this in Israel. Um, Telling me something about a package from DHL. I'm not expecting any package. And they don't use my name or anything. So what they try to do is they try to get you to make a customs payment, which goes to them. It's a joke. They get SIM cards from Israel, and they're in the West Bank, or they're in Lebanon, or they're in Gaza, or Syria, someplace like that, and they conduct the fraud there. There's rings of these people, and you know, that's how they do it. So, the way it looks now is Israel's going to have to wait until the attack starts. But remember that the people that are not the elect are not going to know what's going to happen. Like Noah and Sodom, it came as a shock to these people. When the rain started, they probably said, "Oh, Noah was right." But by then, Noah was in the ark with the animals, and God shut the door, and it started. And there was no repentance for them. So am I saying America's doing some mean, evil things to Israel? You bet they are. And we got that moron as the prime minister, Netanyahu. And he's not serving the God of Israel, he's serving the God of the dead, so he's chasing the weapons. And he's saying, "Oh, we'll listen to Biden, and America will help us fight this war." Well, is there a chance that this coalition is not real and they turn against Israel and attack Israel? Sure. Do I expect it? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. They don't like Iran. Have we seen NATO countries send warships and military equipment, planes and troops to the Middle East? No. We have not. America had 12 ships, then they had 2 submarines we found out about, and now there's 2 other destroyers coming. So they're up to 16 ships. Which for Iran is a lot. When the Abraham Lincoln gets here, they'll have 2 aircraft carriers, which I don't know when the Abraham Lincolns are going to get here, probably days away. It'll have between 70 and 90 planes, probably 60, 70 fighter jets, maybe 80, I don't know. The same with the Theodore Roosevelt. So they'll have plenty of aircraft, but they have aircraft on the ground. So now if Iran attacks Israel and then starts attacking American warships taking down their weapons, well, then there's a high probability America gets into it. If Jordan, let's say, or the UAE or Saudi Arabia starts taking down weapons, and then Iran or their satellites like the Houthis start attacking Jordan, Saudi Arabia, UAE and stuff like that, then I believe the U.S. will get into it. So there's a high probability that America will get into the fight against Iran and the UK and these other nations. Jordan, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, they may join in.
They have fighter jets, they got missiles, they got stuff. I don't know if America's going to want to have them join in. I don't think so. There, I doubt would be a ground invasion of Iran. It'll just be air attacks, missiles, rockets, bombs, drones, and it would probably be designed to hit tactical military targets, and if Iran kept the missiles coming and the attacks on American ships and bases coming, then it would turn into infrastructure attacks and general obliteration. Now, if they attack Jordan or UAE, America's not going to be able to stop Jordan or the UAE from counterattacking them. And they'll counterattack. And they'll be a lot more vicious than America. They know once they start attacking Iran, they got to finish it off, or Iran will come back at them later. That's how the Middle East thinks. So they're going to go for a wipeout. And that's what prophecy tells us. Elam, which is Iraq, Syria, and Iran, will be destroyed by her enemies to the point where the people leave these countries and scatter amongst the world. And it says God sends the sword after them when that happens. So it's not just Iran, it's Iraq and Syria. And they're in the fight with Iran. They're like puppet states of Iran. This would mean Russia loses their Navy base in Latakia, Syria, and their air base in Latakia, Syria. And there are soldiers in the Golan Heights on the Syrian side too. From studying prophecy, it looks pretty real that the Israel military might get destroyed or run out of weapons, but it's very hard for me to imagine running out of all the weapons, you know. Attacks will come out of Gaza, but they'll be minimalistic. Out of Yemen, but very difficult to cause damage in Israel with rockets or missiles or drones. Come out of Iraq and Syria and Iran and Lebanon. Will Turkey join in? I don't know. We don't see any real good signs of that. Turkey's got a big mouth, and it doesn't always deliver. And Turkey is well aware of the fact that Israel will bomb Turkey if they try to get into this fight. And Turkey doesn't have the ability to stop our stealth jets either. I'm going to check the chat and see if we've got questions that I need to answer, because I do answer questions. Let me go through that for a minute or two. I don't know why you say Christians are left out of the book. I don't know what you're talking about. If you're a believer, a real believer, not basing it on church affiliation, in Yeshua HaMashiach, you're in Israel. That's what the church doesn't teach it. And that explains it. Read Ezekiel 47, the last 3 verses. Yeah, please hit the like button, and if you want to get my updates, which will probably come at all hours of the day or night when the eggs start hitting the fan, subscribe and hit the notification bell, and you'll get notified when I do live streams. And I have a habit of coming on at unusual hours when this happens. Let me check and see if we have any recent developments. So I think things will be quiet until after this Arab League thing is over. And I don't even know if it's started yet, but it'll be today. Sometimes they do these things like the middle of the afternoon so people can fly in the morning and go back, you know. What we're getting here in Israel is the Defense Department in Israel is saying that preemptive strike against Hezbollah or Iranian proxies is not the correct move. That's Biden. They're saying that if intelligence shows Hezbollah or other forces are deploying long-range weapons, or that a major attack is imminent, they will attack preemptively. That's possible for Lebanon. The Americans are saying that Iran may be rethinking its plans. I seriously doubt that. I seriously doubt it. They would lose face. They would have no deterrent value against Israel. They're not going to back off. We're getting reports that there's a large amount of American cargo ships flying to Qatar or Qatar from Alaska. Or also that would probably be equipment, weapons, whatever. Foreign media is also saying 12 American F-18A fighters arrived in one of the countries in the theater here in the Middle East, but no mention of specifically which country. We're being told that some American F-22s stopped in the UK, probably to refuel and give the pilots a break and then come on to the Middle East, but you know, we don't know all that. They have videos actually of F-22s landing in the British military place called Lakenheath. I put it up on my Telegram. So Israel's still maneuvering around Gaza because Hamas seem to superficially re-entrench themselves in parts of Gaza. This is due to Netanyahu dragging out the war. There's a lot of bombs that are not nukes that make a mushroom cloud. Okay? Incendiary bombs like they use in Tokyo, Nagasaki, and Hiroshima, which they say were hydrogen bombs, but the damage in Nagasaki and Hiroshima were identical to Tokyo, which was an incendiary bomb which they used in Dresden and Hamburg previously. I'm going to take a break for a minute. Be right back. Is it possible that Israel does something to really irritate Biden? Yes. Is it possible that America takes action against Israel? Not that they become allies with Iran, but Israel just irritates them so much they try to force their will on Israel. Yeah, it says that our blood is on the hands of a daughter of Babylon in Jeremiah 50:51. So it appears that they do get worse with us, but our blood is already on their hands, so we may not need any further fulfillment. Okay? Now, when the city mystery Babylon in Revelation 18 gets hit, it's suddenly in a day, in an hour. Okay? In a day, in an hour. So you're not going to really see that one coming. God has not revealed his hand to the world. He's just showing it to us in prophecy Only those in faith are going to understand it and believe it. Okay. The church is all off on nothing's going to happen to America. We'll be raptured. This is Gog and Magog. The man of peace is going to come. All this kind of stuff. Okay. They have no clue. They don't know from the year of redemption. They don't know from the year of recompenses. They don't know from the day of vengeance. They don't understand. They don't know that Yeshua 4 times in John 6:39, 40, 44, and 54 said that all the believers that the Father gave to him, he raises up on the last day. Everybody goes up on the last day, which means there's no more days. It's after the millennium. And there's no left behind rapture. So they were off in Gaga land. So these people are going to be taken off guard, like in the days of Noah and in the days of Sodom. They're mocking God. Most of the world is mocking God. What I expect Satan is telling the countries that follow him, which is every country, is that he is doing these things in the world now. I think that's what he's telling them. Or maybe he's telling them God's doing it. I don't know. But Satan's crazy, and there's no point in spending a lot of time trying to figure out what he's telling people, because he's probably telling different people different things about the same events, because he's the father of lies. Okay. If America really wanted to help Israel right now, what they would do is do a joint attack with Israel to disable the fighting capability of Iran. And they're not about to do that. Okay? I have a prayer request for R.R. Robert, R.R. Robert. Pray that this person receives Bible truths. For R.R. I have a toast request for M.M. Mike. Tossed salad for Mike. Let's look in prophecy more about what happens to Lebanon in Ezekiel 28, verse 20. Again, the word of Jehovah came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Zidon, and prophesy against it. Now, it's not Zion, it's Zidon. Strong's number 6721. In the Hebrew, it'd be pronounced Sidon. The word means hunting, but it references a city on the Mediterranean coast north of Tyre, so it would be Lebanon. Could be hunting fish or catching fish as well. And prophesy against it, and say, Thus saith Adonai Jehovah, Behold, I am against thee, O Zidon, and I will be glorified in the midst of thee. And they shall know that I am Jehovah, when I shall have executed judgments in her, and shall be sanctified in her. For I will send into her pestilence. Now, that's not the right word. The word is a hit, like the 10 hits God did on Egypt with Moses and Aaron. It's a hit, okay? Not a plague, not a pestilence, okay? I will send into her a hit, H-I-T, like a hit, right? That's what the English versions call the hits on Egypt back with Moses and Aaron, plagues, but they were hits. It's a better translation. And blood into her streets. And the wounded shall be judged in the midst of her by the sword upon her on every side. And they shall know that I am Jehovah. And there shall be no more a pricking briar unto the house of Israel. Well, that's a very good descriptive of Lebanon. Nor any grieving thorn of all that are round about them. So it's going to be the same with all these countries around us. Okay? That despise them, that despise Israel, and they shall know that I am Adonai Jehovah. Thus saith Jehovah, Adonai Jehovah, when I shall have gathered the house of Israel from the people among whom they are scattered, and shall be sanctified in them in the sight of the heathen, the Goyim, then shall they dwell in their land that I have given to my servant Yaakov, and they shall dwell safely therein, and shall build houses and plant vineyards. Yea, they shall dwell with confidence when I have executed judgment upon all those that despise them round about them, and they shall know that I am Jehovah Elohim. And this is Zechariah 12. This is where we're at right now. The other one is Lebanon, open up your doors, let the cedars of Lebanon burn. They don't have a good future. Are they going to keep mocking and continuing to mock and do evil and stuff? Yes. I will help you with the two witnesses momentarily. Israel has, what are we up to now? Oh, we got reserves. We're over 500,000 right now. See, we're in Zechariah 12 now. And I'll go through Zechariah 12 rather quickly with you. Verse 1, the burden of the word of
Jehovah for Israel, saith
Jehovah, which stretcheth forth the heavens
and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, this is Jehovah doing it, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people
round about,
when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem. Well, Iran is talking now about attacking Jerusalem, which is where the seat of the Israeli government is. That's where the Knesset meets, Netanyahu's office, and stuff like that. So
they want to break the religion of America. They want to show their God is more powerful. The God of the leaders of Iran is Satan. They're not Muslims, they just say they are. Now, all the people round about, when they will be in the siege. Now, they're in the siege now. The siege is
you surround and you attack. It's not an invasion. They're never going to get to an invasion. Hang on a minute, I got
something here. I don't know what this is.
nothing.
Okay. It's a siege. What did the Romans do when they laid siege?
They surrounded a country or a city. They shot arrows over the
walls into the city. What are they doing to us? They're shooting arrows, missiles into us. They used catapults and fireballs and big rocks, missiles, rockets,
drones. Same thing.
Sending weapons over the wall to damage us. That's a siege. That's what a siege is. Both against Judah and Jerusalem. He doesn't say Israel
because the tribes aren't back yet and we don't have all the land. And in that day, you see, this is the day of vengeance. It's one day. In that day will I make Jerusalem
a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves
with it shall be cut in pieces. That's lacerate. That's dead. A sword cuts you in pieces. Though all the people of the earth, now it doesn't say people, it says heathen,
goyim, of the earth, and it could be
of the land of Israel, because the word is haaretz, and it could mean the earth or the land of Israel. And I think it means the land of Israel, because it covers, we get Iraq to the left, or the west of the Euphrates River. We get Syria. We don't get Iran.
We get Lebanon, or a big piece of it anyway. We get
a big piece of Syria. We get probably Jordan and Saudi Arabia and stuff like that. Eventually we get
Egypt, which is to the right or the east of the Nile, and it goes down quite a ways. Okay. Though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. Now, the word for gathered together is esaf. Let's see how Strong's puts it into English.
It can mean put all together,
It can mean gathered together. They are kind of gathered together, you know, against it. In that day, saith Jehovah, I will smite every horse with astonishment and his rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah. That means he turns his face towards back Judah, because that's where his eyes are. And when it says open his eyes, it says the word ayin, which is eyes. And of the people with a blindness. And it says the governors of Judah in King James. The word is chiefs. It's the two witnesses. They become the judges of Israel. We learn that in Isaiah 1, which I'll have to read to you. So it's the judge. Now the judges are prophets, and we only have two prophets coming. The two witnesses, which is Elijah and Apostle John. And the judges of Judah shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, strength, they twist it here. It's their strength is in Jehovah of hosts, Elohim, their God. Now listen to this. This is the two witnesses coming into action, which could happen today or tomorrow. In that day will I make the judges of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall burn up all the people round about on the right hand and on the left, and Jerusalem, and they twist this here. It says Jerusalem shall remain still in her own place in Jerusalem. So there's two witnesses. It says it twice. Governors or chiefs or the judges of Judah is in the plural, so it's for the two of them. And like an earth of fire among the wood, and then because there's two of them, he says it a second time, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf, and they shall burn up all the people round about on the right hand and the left. Now they might actually march on us. Maybe they're already loading up in Syria. They're loaded up in Lebanon. They're loaded up in Gaza, so. There you have it. So that's when you're going to see your two witnesses. It could be today. Canada, okay, we got a lot of Canada people here. Are we at war? Who's we? Israel's at war. That's for sure. When people shoot rockets and missiles and shoot at you and all that, you're at war. We're at war with Gaza, with Hezbollah, with Yemen, with Syria, with Iraq, with Iran. See, God's letting America go to the peak of her evil, her iniquity, her lawlessness before he drops on him, so it'll be maximum punishment. And America is pretty much just about there. It may need to do more bad stuff, but I think they've fulfilled enough. Now, the believers in America are going to get out, and they're going to be part of the next great Exodus, go to the wilderness and enter the bond of the covenant, pass under the rod. You need to read Ezekiel 20, starting in verse 33 to the end of the chapter. Read Jeremiah, I think it's either 16 or 17, and Jeremiah 23, and you'll understand the second Exodus. It's so great that the people no longer talk about Moses' Exodus. Now, why do I say the judges? Well, it's easy. You go to, now I know the church doesn't teach any of this, but that doesn't mean that it's not true and it's not in your Bible. It just means they don't teach any of this. You go to Isaiah 1, I don't know, 24? Yeah. Therefore saith Adonai Jehovah of armies, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of my adversaries and avenge me of my enemies.
and I will turn my hand upon thee, and purely purge away thy dross, and take away all thy tin, and I will restore thy judges as at the first. Who were they at the first? Moses and Aaron. And you'll have Elijah and Apostle John. And thy counselors as at the beginning. There'll be 70 counselors again. Afterward thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. See, what also happens in Zechariah 12, the church does not want you to know at all. They're afraid you would know that. So we covered the witnesses burning them up. We'll go to Zechariah 12:7. Jehovah also shall save the tents of Judah first, that the glory of the house of David and the glory of the inhabitants of Jerusalem do not magnify themselves against Judah. In that day shall Jehovah defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of Jehovah before them. So they're going to fight. The old feeble people will fight like David, who killed Goliath and a bear and a lion, and the house of David is going to fight like the glory of God of Israel, which is Michael, and he killed 150,000 people in one day. Now, why is this going to happen? Well, let me keep reading the next verse. And in verse 9, and it shall come to pass in that day that I shall seek to destroy all the goyim, the heathen, that come against Jerusalem. So they're going to probably try to get into Jerusalem or something like that. And I will pour upon the, or just rocket and missile attack, it would also be coming against. The word for come is bow. Against would be all, yeah. Or upon. But I don't think we're going to see a ground invasion. I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and supplications. So now he pours the spirit out on them, and they're saved. Then look what happens. And they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, and they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for only, and shall be in bitterness for him as one is in bitterness for firstborn. They obviously see Yeshua, and it says, if you keep reading, all the tribes in Israel mourned for him. Well, that didn't happen 2,000 years ago when they killed him. So they look upon the one whom they have pierced. They see Yeshua. This is him appearing in the clouds, seated at the right hand of power, which is his father, Jehovah. Like the lightning from the east to the west, like Revelation 1:7, every eye shall see him. The unbelievers are going to freak out. The believers are going to be rejoicing. This is not a rapture. And what happens when you see him? Well, the church never teaches this. I'm aware of that. John 6:40. Notice I'm doing all this out of your Bible. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So the everlasting life is not immortality. It's you're going to live a very, very long time. It says, my people's days shall be like that of a tree. Then you read, a child shall die at 100. That's what this means. You probably never understood that before. All you got to do is live long enough to get into New Jerusalem when it comes, and then you eat from the tree of life and the water of life. So when Yeshua appears in the clouds, the true believers are going to be changed. All Israel
will be changed. They shall all know me from the least to the greatest. I will give them a heart of flesh. I will put my law in their inward parts. That's Jeremiah 31. That's what it's based on. That's why that happened. So you could see your Bible doesn't line up with the church. So you have to make a decision if you're going to go with your Bible or you're going to go with these goofy churches. Okay. Now I want to talk about peace, because I know some of you are stressed out. And why wouldn't you be? Yeshua is the Lamb of God, right? Right. The lamb is a peace offering. The word for peace is shalom. A sin offering is a steer. Okay? They never say in the Bible, behold, the steer of God. Now, you're not going to have peace with God without forgiveness of sins, so he definitely paid for that. But its overall goal was peace with God. So he was the peace offering. He was the Lamb of God. That's why he was in a manger, so to speak. Okay? He wasn't a literal lamb. So when you're stressed out, what's the thing to do? Ask Jehovah in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach to send you or give you his peace, his shalom. That doesn't mean that people around you are going to be nice to you, but it'll mean you'll handle it well. And you'll be at peace. Things will be calm for you. In the scriptures it says, when he sent the 70 out, when you go to a house, send your shalom to the house. If the Son of Man be there, your shalom will rest on the house. If not, it will return back to you. They never teach that in the church, because people are going to go do it to the church building Sunday morning, and they're going to see some of them are going to have discernment, and they're going to see that their shalom came back to them. They're going to go, what the heck is this, you know? All right? So if everybody knew this was coming and they were expecting it and they were saying, yeah, you're right, this and that, well, would it be the days of Noah or like the days of Sodom? No, it wouldn't. Okay. All right. Well, I think I accomplished what I was trying to. So we wait and watch. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to keep trying to check up on what's happening with this Arab League thing and more updates from within Israel. So what the Israeli public and the military probably believes at this point is, as soon as Iran launches missile drone number 1, there's going to be a barrage of ordnance flying on Iran. Maybe America will join in, I don't know. But Israel's going to hit them really hard, so they can't continue this attack. And then I expect Hezbollah would try to hit us as hard as they could, and there probably will be a ground incursion into Lebanon. Look, we win, okay? That's it. And we got to walk by faith, not by sight. So we're not going to see everything. We got to believe it's going to happen in faith. And it's hard to believe all this is going to happen. It's a lot easier to just, become like a secular person and start evaluating the military and go by that. And that's error. Because it's Jehovah that gets us the victory, not the military. If the military did it, the Israeli people would never wake up and return to him. They'd be stuck on the military
and just start paying more taxes and say, well, we need 3,000 planes, we need 15,000 tanks. We'd be like America. I'll be right back. There's a high likelihood that the Israeli military is going to be destroyed. You don't see them operating in Zechariah 12. You don't see the democracy either. So they could get destroyed. And we know that 2/3 are going to get cut off. That's found in Zechariah 13, verse 8 and 9. But I don't believe that happens from the enemy. Okay? I might be wrong, but I don't think so. It could be. But I don't know how that would be controlled, you know? I don't know. But they do go. And the 1/3 get raised up. That's Zechariah 13, verse 8 and 9. That's just a continuum of Zechariah 12. The chapter headings and the numbers and the verse numbers are artificial. They're put in by the publishing houses, not the prophets. When we see Elijah training the Levites in Malachi 3, it appears that the battle's over. And he's burning the dross out of and the tin out of the Levites, so the offerings will be acceptable to Jehovah. And it says, but who can stand when he appears, when he starts working openly? And God says he'll be a swift witness to the ones that don't fear God, adulterers, liars, cheats, frauds, all of that stuff. So they'd probably get cut off after. Maybe not. I don't have that detail. My guess is after, but you gotta wait and watch. Maybe not. Maybe when Yeshua appears, they get it. I don't know. Ezekiel 35 describes who gets it. Ezekiel 34 describes who gets it, but doesn't tell us how they get it. But it doesn't say by the sword, so maybe not. Maybe they don't get it that way. Missiles are by the sword. Look, in the days of Noah, they didn't think the flood was coming. In Sodom and Gomorrah, they didn't know they were going to wake up the next morning and have fire and brimstone coming on their heads, okay? All right? When Gideon got 300 guys and got that victory, it didn't look like he was going to have a victory, did it? No. When they killed Yeshua, it didn't look like Yeshua would get a victory out of it, did they? No. They don't know. They do evil, and they don't know until it's too late. Okay? That's the way it works. Did Pharaoh know that when he followed Israel in the Red Sea, that the Red Sea was going to collapse and drown all these guys, this whole army? No. Did he figure it out while they were drowning? Well, I think so. Remember how scared Israel was when they got to the Red Sea? And Moses parted it. Imagine how many were saying, "Hey, what do you think, Avi? You think he's really going to get the sea open? I mean, what do you think?" And then when it was open, they had to walk through it. You think some of them were scared? Oh my gosh, we got to walk through it. Look at those walls of water. They must be 300 feet high. Oh, if it breaks, we'll drown. What are we going to do? You know, they went. It's better not to be fearful. But if you're fearful and you walk forward in faith, that's a million times better than being fearful and not going forward in faith. The best is not fearful and go in faith. But like Yeshua told doubtful Thomas, as they like to call them, you know, here, stick your hands in my side, feel the holes where they stuck the spear in and pierced them, right? And he said, you know, blessed is Thomas, you know, because he's believing. Yeah, he has to see the signs to believe, but blessed is he because he's still believing. But better are those that don't get to see me that believe, which is us. But Thomas still went forward in faith, and that works. Okay? That works. Okay? The walking on the water. Yeshua said, "Give me my hand." He took his hand, and then he was able to walk on the water. But he needed that extra help to have the faith to do it. Then he lost it, you know. But, okay, if you're doubtful, but you go forward in faith, in spite of your doubts, that's not so bad at all. Like doubtful Thomas, okay? It's not so bad. But it's hard to believe all this is going to happen. It's a lot easier to believe, oh, Israel will save, America will save the day, and you know, no, God's not about to have any army save Israel. When the two witnesses do it, it'll be overtly obvious that God did it through these two. It'll be obvious as all get out. Does Putin or Biden have fire coming out of their mouths? Come on. Okay. So we walk by faith, not by sight. So when we look at everything right now, it doesn't appear that Jehovah's going to do this. And it says in Jeremiah 30, verse 11, associated with the birth of a nation in a day, that he's going to destroy all the nations that he scattered the Israelites into, which has got to be 125 nations. And he's not going to kill everybody, he's going to destroy the nations. And how can he do that so quick? Because he's Jehovah, and he says, I will deal with the heathen like they never heard. So he's going to lay it on them like they never heard this before, because of what they've done to Israel. Where do you see this in detail? Well, you see it in Zechariah. Oh gosh, is it chapter 1 or chapter 2? I'll find it. It's either chapter 1 or 2. Let's go with 2. See if we can pick it up there.
it's probably 1. Let me find it. It's down a ways. We'll pick it up in Zechariah 1:14. So the angel that communed with me said unto me, Cry thou, saying, Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, I am jealous for Jerusalem and for Zion with a great jealousy, because he wants them back with him, because of the 2,000-year punishment found in Hosea 6:1 and 2, and he stopped up their ears and closed their eyes. He wants them back. And I am very sore displeased with the heathen. It's not sore displeased. It's like I'm super furious. It would be a better way of putting it. Super furious with the heathen that are at ease. For we're not at ease in Israel, but they're eating their caviar and the roast beef and stuff like that, sitting in their jacuzzi. Displeased with the heathen that are at ease, for I was but a little displeased, and they helped forward the affliction. See, God put Israel into a 2,000-year punishment after they killed the Messiah, and that's found in Hosea 6:1 and 2. Time's up, it's over. But he's saying he was mad at us, but the heathen made it worse. They kept throwing us out of all the countries we went to, stripping our goods, Holocaust. Stalin had a Holocaust. Hitler had a Holocaust. Therefore, thus saith Jehovah, I am returned to Jerusalem with mercies. My house shall be built in it, saith Jehovah of hosts, and a line shall be stretched forth upon Jerusalem. Cry yet, saying, Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad, and Jehovah shall yet comfort Zion, and shall yet choose Jerusalem. Then lifted I up mine eyes, and saw, and behold, 4 horns. And I said unto the angel that talked with me, What be these? And he answered me, These are the horns which have scattered Judah and Israel and Jerusalem. And Jehovah showed me 4 workmen. Then said I, What come these to do? And he spake, saying, These are the horns which scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head. But these are come to terrify them, to cast out the horns of the Goyim, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah, to scatter them. I don't know who these 4 are. Okay? I don't know. The 2 witnesses would make 2 of them, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. But these nations are going to get terrified and destroyed. So it's real hard to wrap your head around this and saying, oh, I know this is going to happen, but gosh, it's so hard, and is it really going to happen? And it affects all of us this way. We could get doubtful and stuff like that. It's a big faith step. Okay. Let me see if I put anything else in my notes that I'm omitting. Oh, back to the shalom. Let's go John 14:27. Sorry, I didn't read that to you. John 14:27. Let's get into this. it says peace, but the word is shalom. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. See, the world, the way they get peace is when circumstances change. Okay? We get peace from Jehovah. The circumstances don't necessarily change right then and there, but we get peace about it. All right, I guess I accomplished what I want. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll be doing updates when the eggs hit the fan. I don't know, what's happening with the Arab League. We'll find out during the day, and we'll keep learning more. And there's always a chance Israel does a preemptive strike, especially on Hezbollah. Israel might strike Hezbollah preemptively. I don't think Biden gives a hoot about that. Because it's justifiable, because Lebanon's launching missiles and drones every single day at us. Okay? But Iran's not. So they want to wait and let Iran damage Israel, and then they say, okay, now go get them. Because it's justifiable. The nations can't scream bloody murder, All right, so I'm Moshe, my wife's Rivka. Please pray for us for our peace, safety, protection, and joy. Pray for, remember it says no evil shall come near your dwelling in the Bible too. You can look it up. So don't be so worried, okay? Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy, healing, our finances. Pray that our animals and pets be happy, healthy, and whole. Pray for better videos. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. Pray the Lord gives me more insights. And remember to lift your head up. Your redemption draweth nigh. It's really close now. The appearing in the clouds. It's really, 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 really close. Okay? And it's going to be, the sun's going to go dark, and the moon's going to turn to blood. Now, you have to remember, on our earth, the sun's not out all over the whole earth at the same time. Some places are dark, some have the sun. So I imagine either you'll see the sun go dark or you'll see the moon turn to blood, and that's how it'll affect everybody. And then they'll see Yeshua in the clouds like lightning from the east to the west. And those of you that are believers are going to get changed right then and there. You'll have everlasting life. You'll probably look like you're about 23 years old. Malachi 4 says you'll frolic around or jump out of the stall like a calf. Okay? And that's what I got for today. Thank you for the prayers. Keep praying for us. And it won't be long. It won't be long. Okay, I'm out. I hope I'm out. Let's see. There we go.